Hello, my beautiful beauties, my wonderful lovelies. A pleasant afternoon to you. Listen to me. One of the most mendacious, one of the most destructive, one of the greatest maladies in life is to consciously, deliberately, intentionally, and invariably be an ineffective and an inefficient leader in any sphere of any kind, whether you are a parent, whether you are a supervisor, whether you're a manager, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a prime minister, whether you're a president, whichever facet you fall into, whichever hole it is that you're held up in, it is one of the most miserable things that you could ever do. You would not have lived a successful life that God had originally designed you to be. I encourage people who lead, especially if you're leading a plethora of people, to focus on growing the entity, the organization, the society, as opposed to doing folly like Old Testament Saul, where his jealousy consumed him. His jealousy of David consumed him. He could not lead the people correctly. He failed miserably in his mission. He was handed a baton, yes. It was not in God's perfect will because the people were pressuring Samuel for a leader. That's all right. Because since you can't trust me and trust Samuel in the interim until I find the correct person. Because Samuel in and of himself, was a leader. He was like a judge, like a prophet, you know and they could not wait. You see, this thing, all of us are guilty, even me. And I have to learn the importance of waiting on God. That is how we soar like an eagle, or we will just, almost like a grasshopper. But I wasn't thinking of grasshopper, like a chicken. When chicken a try fly, and just, and right back down the heavy body. The wings them barely can even open out. They just barely move. It's like they just jump like grasshoppers. And the Bible talk about do not be like grasshoppers as well. Focus on growing the entity. Focus on growing the people rather than being like a Saul where you're tearing down people. You have some leaders, for example, in organizations, like they think they're very slick and they think they're sly. So what they do, they try to covertly put down other people. But the people that they're putting down, if you check the let's just call it the vitals, we're not talking about physical, well, it could be physical as well, the vitals, the mental and the emotional and the psychological and the physical makeup, the mind of that person, I guarantee you that person is probably like a David, where they kill tens of thousands, while Saul, that leader, only killed 1,000. So they see the diamond in the human being. So their jealousy becomes rampant. And instead of growing the organization, an organization given to you, and instead of taking it from ground zero to ground hero, to ground 100, to 1,000, to 1,000,000, to infinity, they keep it basically at ground zero, not even to move to ground one. That's the most mendacious thing I could ever think of. Grossly wrong for the organization. The organization is hurting, it is crying out in pain because it senses such an ineffective and such an inefficient leader. And the reality is, it could be a misfit. I believe in that. Although in life we're all leaders in some way, all will manage. Let me put it that way. We all really, and we were not all designed to be great, grandiose, magnolious leaders. Like we all will not become prime ministers. We all will not become presidents of companies, CEOs, and so on, because it's not in our portfolio. That is not how God has designed you. But you may be a manager of something. It could be your own home. It could be a saving pan. It could be a pair of shoes. whatever it is that God has given you to manage, because management is a part of the whole human race makeup. God created us to dominate earth, to manage it and manage the people within and in our little sphere, in our little quarter. But we all will not be grandiose and this, great leader, for example, or we all won't be Martin Luther King Jr.'s or Mother Teresa, the late great and venerable people they were. But in whatever area that you're allowed to, again, Saul was not in God's perfect will, as David was, to lead. But even in his permissive will, he could not carry that baton across the line succinctly, sweetly, comprehensively, effectively, and efficiently. He failed miserably, died with a broken heart because he chose jealousy over leadership. He chose envy over leadership. It burned him so greatly that David really, David was his subordinate. David wasn't the king, the leader yet, although he was anointed king. He was still basically working under Saul. He was working under Saul, but still did greater than Saul because of his heart, his willingness, his fierceness, his devotion to God, his loyalty and honor and faithfulness and commitment to God. God slowly developed David into an effective leader, while the somewhat leadership that Saul had was just being chipped away day after day after day. And instead of him growing the kingdom, he helped to tear down, not the kingdom of God. I'm talking the kingdom that he ruled and he reigned in. No one can tear down the kingdom of God, can never be torn down. Never be torn down. Never be torn down. Never, 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 never. So we're talking about in an earthly fashion. So it behooves any person who is given a leadership role to not focus on being jealous, because you know what, in the long run you are going to have regrets that you really were an inefficient and ineffective leader. And what some of them try to do, as I said, use very uncanny means, you know, to make others look bad, to make others look incompetent, to make others look incapable, as though they're making a lot of mistakes or they can't do the job well, while they try to make themselves look big. But when you look at the overall organization and an entity and company, where is it? You have not moved it from ground zero to ground hero. You have not even taken it to ground one. You have failed miserably. But there is a remnant that you can look to that can help you. But you have to so humble yourself. You have to so be respectful and honorable where others are concerned. You have to cherish and value others. A level 5 leader that the present and venerable John C. Maxwell spoke about is someone who is in a symbiotic sense, people centric and work centric, and having the right fit in the particular area of speciality, not having the somebody who, because I'm not jealous of this one because this one is mediocre, so I'm going to put this one here, but the one that I am jealous of, that one who I'm jealous of really should be there, but I'm jealous of that person. It's a reality, people. We have to call a spade a spade. Somebody will know that you're gifted in a particular department or area or to do something, but because they're so jealous, they rather watch it struggle and struggle and struggle and not thrive than to put you there. That's how strong jealousy is. They will rather to have it mediocre than to have you there. But in due time, God will move people like you and put the right person there to lead and to grow the organization, the entity, the country, the society in the way it ought to. You only have rope. God has time. Again, as a poor leader, you only have rope, but God has time. And your weak and feeble ways of trying to make others look good while you look great will wane, and gone with the wind. But it's very, very, very sad when you've lived this life and you really were an inefficient and ineffective leader. May God help you. Guys, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share this.